Lord Peter Wimsey, spawn of the Denver family, lover of wine, and collector of antique books, to all appearances seems to be a rich idiot with no day job. And he is. But he is also a brilliant detective. And that's going to come in handy when his own brother is accused of murder in Clouds of Witness by Dorothy L. Sayers. Hello everyone, and welcome to Classic Tales and Hidden Gems, where we celebrate the public domain. Here's the setup of today's mystery. Lord Denver is throwing a house party, one of those classic English country house parties that so often show up in books like this. And among the guests are his sister, Lady Mary, and Lady Mary's fiancé, Cathcart. Now, Lord Denver and Cathcart one day get into this huge argument. And later on, at 3 o'clock in the morning, Cathcart is found in the garden, dead, shot through the heart. Specifically, he is found dead by his fiancée, with Lord Denver standing over the body. The problem is, neither Lady Mary nor Lord Denver are willing to explain what they were doing in the garden at 3 o'clock in the morning. So Peter Wimsey has to put his amateur detective skills to the test and figure out what his siblings have been hiding from him. Wimsey is a fun detective. He is a veteran of the First World War and clearly has PTSD. Not so obvious in this book, but other books in the series, yes, absolutely. This is what this man has. But he isn't a, grim, gritty detective. He's not a film noir character. He is a fop. He's a dandy. He's silly. He's funny. He's a rich idiot with no day job, But this isn't like Bruce Wayne and Batman. This is not a mask he puts on to conceal who he really is. He really is this irreverent in real life. But he does play up this upper-class twit persona because it throws people off their guard, makes them underestimate him, and it also annoys his family, which I think is really funny. We stan a petty person in this house. He's great. He's also a man of action. A lot of this book is him tramping around rural Yorkshire with Bunter, his valet assistant. Bunter's great. We love Bunter. I've heard this part of the book described as Jeeves and Wooster meets Wuthering Heights, and yes, that's a very apt description. It's really fun. But there's all these tense scenes, like they get lost in this fog and nearly get sucked into the mire. At one point, this farmer tries to sick his dogs on Peter, and he has to figure out how to escape. He gets chased around with a gun. A lot of dynamic action in this. It's not just clues and puzzles. There's tension. There's also the excitement of the finale, which I am going to have to get into some spoilers to tell you about that. So if I've already sold you on the book, check the link in the description, and we'll see you next week. If not, let's press on. So the finale of the book is this great courtroom drama, because Lord Denver actually does have a pretty airtight alibi. He has a witness to where he was and what he was doing, because Lord Denver was having an affair, and that's why he was sneaking out of the house at 3 o'clock in the morning. Because he's been stepping out with one of the local farmers' wives, Mrs. Grimethorpe. But he very nobly does not want to drag her into it, because her husband is very abusive and will probably kill her if he finds out that she's been having an affair. Which, on the one hand, good for Lord Denver for, keeping his mouth shut and not dragging her into this, even at the risk of being hung for murder. But, my guy, if you know that she might get murdered for having an affair with you, maybe don't have an affair with her? Lord Denver's not very smart. But they've got this witness, but they don't want to use her. Luckily, though, Peter Wimsey has tracked down this other piece of evidence that would also exonerate his brother. But it's in New York. So the ending of the book is this race from New York back to London to see if he can get the letter back in time to clear his brother's name and not have to draw Mrs. Grimethorpe drag her out onto the witness stand. So does he make it? Will he make it in time? After all, this is before Charles Lindbergh does his famous transatlantic crossing in the spirit of St. Louis. So who knows? Will the plane go down? I'm not going to tell you. You are going to have to find out for yourself. I'd hope you like to read Clouds of Witness by Dorothy L. Sayers. It is available through Project Gutenberg and standard ebooks. Links are in the description. BBC Radio did an adaptation in the 70s. As far as I know, it's not in the public domain, but it is archived through the Internet Archive. It is available to listen through them, so check that one out. Also, my favorite podcast, Classic Tales Podcast with B.J. Harrison, just did Clouds of Witness as a 9-part series starting January 5th, 2024. So check that out. Also check out that podcast. He's fabulous. Support him. Buy his books. He's great. I hope you decide to read this book. I hope you've been enjoying Detective Month. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.